E lascio la parola a Jean Pascal che aveva il piacere di portare un'esperienza non solo del mondo italiano ma anche del mondo europeo.
So, thank you and excuse me for not speaking Italian. Thank you for Sergio to invite me today. So Sergio asked me to maybe tell you a little bit about the big trends that we see, how it impacts our company, and what we see happening in Europe and maybe across the world. First, I would like to really bounce back on Lucia's, Gianfrida's speech, and also Andrea. I think that today Promethean is really a company that is devoted to education. Right? If you look at the mission of the company, it states that we're here to unleash the power of and revolutionizing or transforming the way people learn and collaborate. And I think it's very different, and it's a trend that is happening today. I think that the same mission 10 years ago was only probably about the word learn. Okay? The other thing is that it is about collaboration to make people more, both students and also teachers, more engaged, more efficient, more empowered, and in the end, more successful. So how do we see that, and what are the trends that we see impacting our company to supply the right solution for you? I think there are 5 that I would like to stress. The first one actually is, and maybe it would be far away from what you think are your preoccupation, but actually it's impacting you. It's the consumerization of IT. I think that when I started my career 30 years ago in IT, the innovation was coming from the business, from the enterprise, from the administration, not from the consumer. And over the last 10-15 years, with the arrival of internet, of the broadband connection, the smartphone, the PCs, the notebook, the tablets, innovation is now coming from a world of consumer. And that has a huge impact on every organization, whether it's a private enterprise, a public organization, or an education, because it means that the control has shifted. The second thing is the explosion of the easiness of access to information. Today, anybody can access information almost anywhere. When I say anybody, I'm kind of pushing it to the limit. Because obviously, the 7 billion people in the world do not have the equal access. But the vast majority and the speed of penetration of those technologies means that probably all these people in this room will know a word that will be fully connected. I will not play the game of trying to say whether it will be in 2015, in 2020, in 2025, but what we're sure of is that it will happen. Okay? The third one is that consumerization, broadband and ubiquitous access is kind of makes us being schizophrenic, because it's a word of mass consumption and it's a word where people want personalization. They want to be having the same device, having the same access, and they want it to be tailored to their own needs. And they are becoming more and more and more demanding in any domain, public, private, education, business. Okay? The fourth one is the word that was already said, which is collaboration. Because I think that in the past, learning was about carrying information, conveying information, broadcasting information. Today, it's not only about broadcasting information. It is still, it's still. You have. I think it was also in Nisha's presentation, the fact that you have to take both of the best of both worlds. Okay, it's not exclusive, but you have to make it useful and collaborative, because you can have information, but you don't know today if it's the right information, because, pardon my French, you have a lot of bullshit on the internet. Okay? So if you only give the access to the information and you don't give the tool to manage that, then you're not performing a good job, I think. The fifth one, which is coming, and I think it was also a lot of what was discussed today, although I don't understand all of Italian, I can, with my little French and Spanish, I can understand a little bit. I think it was a lot of the thing is about the cloud. The cloud will be important because the cloud will be what allow the differentiation between the software, the infrastructure, and the hardware, the knowledge. Okay? And that's the way the company will go. What the cloud will evolve into, have different flavor probably. And it will not be everything in the cloud or everything on-premise. It will be a mix of that. But for sure, it will be used, and will be used across all type of devices. So those are the 5 technologies. So for us, what it means in terms of R&D, we're investing 10% of our revenue in R&D because we really want to be an education supplying solution and not just hardware. So we have one free thing which is not going to go away, which is what we call the front-of-class technology, which is what started 15 years ago. And for example, the UK, about trend, the UK now is on the second, maybe the third generation of front-of-class technology. The flat panel that you see here, which is the new introduction to a line of product, is rapidly replacing the interactive whiteboard that you have in the UK. And the market is switching rapidly, very rapidly, because in the UK there is already 80 or 85% of the classrooms are equipped. Actually, in this year in the UK, it's the first year that people will go out of university for the first time and they will only have known interactive technology in the classroom. Okay? Not necessarily in the form of tablets, obviously it did not exist. Who knew 5 years ago that the tablet would go that fast? Okay? But they always had worked with whiteboards, interactive whiteboards. So that when they come into their job, in their enterprise or whatever, or administration, they look at the white paper and say, hey, you're working with white paper, and markers? Where is the whiteboard? Okay, so this is exactly that. They are starting to demand that. Okay, so this is why we have the front of class. The second big way of investment for us is around the assessment, because it's good to have the knowledge, but it's also good to know exactly where you are, where you stand. That's why we started a few years back with the learning response system. Now it's going into software. A lot of investment is going into software because we know that we don't know what will be the support of the software tomorrow. It might be PC, smartbook, tablets, but it might be something that has not yet been invented and we'll need to run on that. Okay? Maybe games or consoles or whatever. Okay? And then the third important investment for us is in the way you manage this information, the way you prepare your courses. From getting the information, for example, on the repository which is called Promising Planets, where 2 million people and teachers in the world are using to share best practices, share content. That's another part of collaboration, is social media, in the world of education. And then you prepare, adapt it to your class, deliver the content to your class, assess the content, and then close the loop to get to the next level. So we're putting a lot of efforts on that, and you see more and more software coming from us, obviously from some of our other actors. Okay? And finally, I think that, and it was also one point that was addressed in previous presentation, is that infrastructure is needed. You need the infrastructure to work, okay? And you have the choice. But more importantly, once you have the infrastructure, you have to have the right tools to make it happen. And that is probably the new wave for us and wave of technology that will come to you in the future. Okay? So it's a buoyant market. Okay, it's a very, very active market. By the way, some countries are leapfrogging some generation. They go directly from the chalkboard to the latest one-to-one device. Okay, and we see that happening in countries like Vietnam, like China, like Indonesia. Indonesia, for example, has completely embraced the active table that we will see over there because they believe that it is the best way to make the children collaborate. Okay? So, by the way, I think that Nokia has done an outstanding job here in making sure that all the technologies are available. We're also here to discuss it with you, and happy to answer to your question afterwards.